Let's go.
When real life happens, we got a golden rule. Stay true, stay focused on what's
Yes,
important
sir.
for you.
Yes, sir.
Discover the you, find your goal.
Yes. Find your goal, man. Welcome back to the Golden Rule Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Ryan Hayes, man. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Man, I feel like been so long. Listen, man, I was about to hit the mystical in here, man. It's been a little minute, but we back with the sports updates, man. Listen, so much to unpack, so much to get into, man. So without further ado, we just gonna run right into it, man. I'm gonna try to do this in sequence in which these events happen. I do know trade deadlines and NBA trades happen latter part of last week. So we're gonna get into that last. We're gonna get to that last. But let's start off with what's first, man. Listen, college football did not disappoint this weekend, man. I mean, it was a great little atmosphere. My Buckeyes didn't play, so we had time to just sit back and watch the field. Watch all the film on everybody else play, man. With some big time games. Of course, I got to start with the big noon kickoff game, man. Colorado versus USC. Listen, man, this game started. It really started like as if I'm not sure. I felt like they were about to get blown out the water once again. I thought it was about to be a repeat of what happened last week versus Oregon. But surprisingly enough, to my surprise, man, Colorado had some fight in them. They had some dogs show up. They had some young guys show up, some freshmen. I don't want to, forget them. So I'm gonna go ahead and mention them right now. Amarion Miller, the wide receiver, number 14, freshman, true freshman, four-star recruit showed up, man. I'm not sure what it was that was keeping him on the bench. I mean, Coach Prime said after the game that he practiced like poo and played like it made what it do. So I mean, he played real well. He hadn't been doing so well in practice, I'm assuming. Also another freshman who finally got a chance to get on the field, who's been highly touted, number one cornerback. I think he was the number 20 player overall in the coming out of high school last year, but he was the number one cornerback, and that was Cormani McClain. Listen, man, both of those guys stepped up big time. I'm definitely having to give them guys shout outs. Shout out to the young guys, man. Freshmen at that, true freshmen getting on the field, making an impact, making a difference, man. Amarion Miller, man, I think his very first catch in college ball went for like 62 yards or something like that. Well, he took a hitch 62 yards up the field, looked like he just kind of ran out of gas. It looked like he was gone. But he got hogged down, man. But he continued to show out. I mean, every time Shador would throw him the ball, he would step up in big ways, man. So he was, he had a touchdown. He got his first catch and his first touchdown all in the same game. It was just beautiful to watch. It was beautiful to see that there is talent. I mean, we know that the Colorado Buffalo, let's be clear, they were missing three starters on defense. Slusher's a safety that was missing on defense. Charlo Sanders, Deion's other older son, was missing on as at the safety position. He had an injury to the kidneys, I believe. He was urinating blood. And of course, Travis Hunter, the number one prospect, probably number one overall pick if he just continued to stay healthy. But yeah, he definitely was still missing as well with that lacerated liver. So I mean, he's looking at what they have, these freshmen that stepped up, and then we continue to bring in the guys who were hurt and they get healthy. Man, it look like they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good to go. I'm not gonna stick on them too much. Like I said, they lost. It was a close game. It ended up being a close game. It started out 34-7. It was just ugly around halftime. Shador made a bad read, made a pick that put them in great position. I mean, the defense just looked like they struggling, but they stepped it up and they really, they put their hard hats on in the second half, and I got to give them much credit for that. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but I think the final score was 48-41. So I mean, and I feel like if they would have got that onside kickback, we might have been talking about a whole different thing. And missing three starters in the secondary, that's tough. That was a tough, hard fought game. Of course, after the game, I wanted to let you guys hear a little bit of what Deion said. Let me let y'all hear,
what's going on and what's
because you got to be able to see what's
coming.
going on.
If you can't see what's coming with CU football, you've lost your mind. You just a flat out hater. If you can't see what's going on and what's going to transpire over the next several months, something's
Mm-hmm.
wrong with you.
Something wrong
You
with you.
can't see.
Listen, that's all he basically said. If you can't see what's going on in Colorado, I mean, they bringing out all the stars, all the stops is being brought out, man. So, I'm excited to see what's coming forward with Coach Prime and Colorado Buffaloes. I mean, they become my second favorite team. I can't. There's must see TV. I'm watching every week, just like the rest of the world. It seems like they having 10 to 12 million viewers a game. So, I mean, of course, this is unprecedented for that program. I'm sure that they were 1-11 last year. We don't have to keep reminding you of that. And now 3-2. They just lost the two big games against Oregon and USC, but I mean that was with injuries, and we'll just see how they look going forward. I know that the recruits are gonna come flowing in. They always got all these stars on the sideline, from rap artists to ex NFL players to Hall of Fame players. I mean, they got it packed out, and it looks real good to see from the outside looking in. I wouldn't mind going to Colorado. I only been one time to Colorado. That was in Estes Park, but I wouldn't mind going to Colorado and sitting in Boulder in one of them seats at that game, man, because I know the atmosphere is electric. And we'll move on from them, man. Like I said, good close game, but we'll move on from them. Florida basically got destroyed against Kentucky, man. It's like a rivalry game. It's kind of like one of those games. Kentucky versus Florida happens every year, SEC football, but it's one of those games where it doesn't matter what the rank of the opponent is, whether it was Kentucky ranked and Florida wasn't. It probably could have went the exact same way. This thing is like OU versus Texas, which would be next week. Texas and Oklahoma play next week at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, at the State Fair. Which, I mean, that'll be exciting to go to as well. But yeah, Kentucky just rolled over Florida. I mean, I don't understand what happened. Florida just had a big win just last week, and then they come into this week and they lose to an unranked Kentucky. So that's a tough loss, man. Texas continue to roll. We got to give a shout out to the Longhorns, man. They look good. Quinn Ewers, the quarterback, he looks good, man. He continues to impress. I feel like he'll be, one of the top 5 quarterbacks to go in the draft, personally, in my opinion, because he's always kind of struck me as a good thrower of the football. I'm going to say that. Even when he had the mohawk, the long mohawk, looking like Joe Dirt or whatever, he was still like, he sling that football, man. So giving Texas their shout out. They beat number 24 Kansas, so they beat them pretty handily too, 40-14. So it wasn't even close. Notre Dame won on a late touchdown, so I don't know how to really judge Notre Dame. They did play us tough, Ohio State, last week, and we had to beat them on a time run out touchdown on the run. So they basically returned the favor and did the exact same thing on this touchdown run they did yesterday Saturday to Duke. And also Ole Miss beat LSU in a high scoring matchup. So that was pretty much all of the big time games in college football. We look forward to continue to roll. We look forward to college football just continue to impress us. There's a couple games, like I said, next week. I mean, my Buckeyes do play Maryland, but I think the biggest game of the week would probably be that Texas versus OU game, and I believe that's a big noon kickoff as well. So we'll be ready and moving forward with that. Now, I wanted to move on to some things that happened Saturday night before I even get into NFL. Obviously, we've been talking about for a couple shows now. We've been talking about the Charlo versus Canelo boxing match, and it was a sight to see. I mean, I pretty much predicted that this would happen. I didn't think Charlo was going to be able to, transition and move up in that weight class and handle Canelo at his own weight. Canelo looked like the better fighter all the way through and through. It looked like Charlo was just in there trying to survive. He didn't look like he was actually bringing the fight to Canelo. He looked like he was just in there trying to survive the fight and try to make it through each round. He wasn't really landing any tough shots. I mean, people say that they're cotton ball punches, but I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't want to get hit by him. I'm not sure how hard he was hitting that man, but based on the way I was looking at it, you can hear Canelo's shots when they landed clean, man. You can hear the gloves popping off him. It was like, man, you could just hear it, like he's slinging them thing. He was definitely, putting that power to Charlo, and Charlo admitted as much. Man, he basically said, "Hey, man, his power was effective," and he was like, he basically said moving up in weight and that kind of affected him. He said he was like 171 the night before the fight. That's not his normal. Obviously, we know Charlo is undisputed in 154. So him being almost 20 pounds over and trying to fight a new fight, with a guy who's already accustomed to being at that 168-pound range, that was pretty impressive, man. I mean, I would definitely give let me give Charlo a look, man. I don't want to hate on Charlo. Now, I personally don't think Charlo wants to see Bud Crawford. I mean, when he said he want to fight Bud next, I was like, hmm? Like, bro, this not that ain't the thing you want to do, man. But I mean, giving Canelo his flowers, I did take down a stat that Canelo became the first male boxer with 3 defenses of an undisputed title in the 4-belt era. So I mean, he made a little history. You got to understand when you start talking undisputed, the people that you may think is great boxers, I mean, you could say Floyd Mayweather. A lot of people say because he went 50-0 that he's the number 1 boxer in the world. I mean, he'll tell you himself. He was saying the same thing when Carmel Moto, I think that's his name, his new fighter, had made his pro debut, and Floyd chimed in where he was like, some guy was saying that Moto or Carmel was being trained by one of the greatest, and then it's arguable or debatable or whatever. And then Floyd chimed in like, man, I beat the most champions in the less fights and all this other stuff. But at the same time, Floyd Mayweather has never been undisputed. So that means, and to clarify what undisputed is, that means that you've won all of the belts in a particular weight class. Like a guy like Bud Crawford won all of the belts there is to win in the class of 140. And he also just recently did it on July 29th when he beat Earl Spence, because he became undisputed 2 times, which has never been done by any boxer. So I mean, it's undisputed, and there's great fighters. And then when you say you won all of the belts, you actually hold all of the belts. You got 140, 147 for Bud, then now you got 168 for Canelo, and he's got all of the belts. So if he were to move up and down in the weight class and try to get all those, then maybe he can catch Bud as far as accolades go. But right now, Bud is looking to move up. He's looking to go to 154. I did hear Charlo kind of called him out at the end of his fight, saying that he wants to fight Bud, but I really don't think that's the case. I mean, Bud, I did take down where Bud was talking about Charlo, basically saying he's off his list. He ain't worried about him no more. He went in there and laid down and let Canelo just beat him like a dog and made the lion. Canelo made the lion because, that's Charlo. They always talk about they lions and stuff. And Bud was like, man, he made the lion look like a cub. And I just, obviously Bud just be trolling, man. But I'll let y'all hear what Charlo was saying.
You took the risk. Will you now
I'll let y'all hear a little bit of what Charlo was saying.
I don't make excuses for myself, so it is what it is. Take my punches and roll with it. This boxing, hey, sometimes you win some, you lose some. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You showed an awful lot of respect, particularly early in this fight. And was it because of the difference in weight class, or what can you describe to us was the difference?
Yeah, truthfully, you could feel the difference in the weight. I jumped up 14 pounds. I'm undisputed in my weight division, so hey, I was daring to be great right now. And so, hey, you fall short sometimes, but you got to just keep on pushing. Hey, my road don't stop right here.
You took the risk. Will you now go back to 154?
Absolutely. I think this morning I weighed like 172, 173. So I grandfather myself into this shit. It is what it is. Like I said, I'm proud of myself. He ain't knocked me out. I thought the other guys out. He hit me with some hard shots. I felt like I got mine off, but hey, I'm the little Charlo and I represent that.
And would it be Tim Tszyu next, perhaps?
I guess the winner of him and Mendoza, whoever I got to fight. I'm down to fight whoever, Hey, I want to fight Terrence Crawford. Fuck that. I could fight Terrence Crawford at my weight division. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's somewhere around his joint. Yeah. I'll fight Terrence Crawford. Yeah. Let them fight Earl Spence or whatever they got going on. Get that out the way. I'm waiting. I'm about to get back right in training. Tell them don't worry about it.
Look, man, Charlo basically like tell him don't worry about it. He about to get right back in the gym, get right back to training. He gonna go back down to 154. He realized 168 he just wasn't ready for it. So, but I mean to call out Bud Crawford in that moment, I feel like it was cap. We gonna just be like, listen, brother, that really ain't what you want. I'm telling you, that boy right there is a dog. And I don't know if he really want that dog, man. I mean, I know he a lion, but he might not be the big lion. He might be a little lion. But don't do that. Don't do it, man. I'm going to just say that. But moving along, man, like I said, it was a great fight. I mean, much anticipated. I'm sure he got his bag. He didn't get knocked out. He did get knocked down for the second time in his career. These guys fight people when they barely even hit the turf. So I mean, I guess that's something to for Canelo to hang his head on. He didn't knock him out. Charlo didn't look beat all up like Earl Spence did versus Bud. His face wasn't all swollen up. So I give him a little respect, most definitely, for taking on the challenge. He had really nothing to lose and everything to gain. That's why I respect Canelo so much, because Canelo really had nothing to gain by beating this man. He didn't what his belts was on the line, and none of Charlo belts was on the line. He's still undisputed in his weight class. He still maintained all of his belts. So I don't know. I just feel like Canelo taking that fight really was nothing to gain, but I guess that's what he has to do as far as being a 3-time title defense. And plus, he's in it for the money right now. So they making millions of dollars. I think they netted 20 million each or something like that. I mean, Canelo probably got the bigger purse, but still. Moving along from there, man, that was pretty good. It was a pretty good boxing weekend. It was a much anticipated match, so we did get a chance to see it. But I'm gonna move on to the NFL, man. The NFL has been very interesting of late. We've had some hot teams like the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins put up 70 points last week against the Denver Broncos. 70-20 was that final score that came out, turned around. And historically, teams that score that high, they have like a falling off the cliff of the next week. And that's kind of what happened, man. I mean, Miami had some weapons back. They did have Jalen Waddle played. Tyreek Hill was held to like 5 catches, 58 yards instead of his normal, getting off. And the fact that Buffalo lost Tre'Davious White, it was crazy how they still were able to lock tight that defense. Not to mention Von Miller is coming back. He started practicing today, I believe, or maybe yesterday he started practicing. So he's back on the field, man. The defense that they have right now is about to get better, and that's just a scary sight. It looked like Buffalo is clicking on all cylinders. Josh Allen is living up to being who he was. The first couple games, even including losing to the Jets with Zach Wilson, it was just ridiculous how he was throwing the ball away, fumbling, giving the ball away. But he's been very efficient with the football. He's been, efficient on his throws. He's been looking real good. So we keep our eyes on Josh Allen, man. The Bills do look good, and they were able to cool off those red hot Dolphins. Also, the Ravens just beat the brakes off the Browns. Now, me personally, I picked the Browns, but I did not know, which it kills me about the NFL, these injury reports, and they got these guys game time decision when the papers and bets got to be in on Wednesday or Thursday morning. I just don't understand how that goes, man. I wasn't expecting Deshaun Watson not to play, but the Ravens took care of business. Lamar Jackson did his thing. They took care of business, man. So, I mean, kudos to them. I'm not going to poo-poo the situation. I just feel like NFL need to do a better job with the injury reports. Guys need to be reporting on Wednesday, Thursday when the injury report come out, and there's no changing it from there, man. I mean, I just personally feel like that, but hey, that's, speaking from a bettor or somebody who's got vested interest in the thing. So, I kind of, I got vested interest, man. I'm trying to win me some free vacation time and all kind of stuff. So either way, moving along now, the Texans shocked the world, basically. It shocked me personally by beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Pittsburgh was on the road. Texans were at home. This was the Texans' first home win since 2021, I believe. They haven't won at home in that long, so that was kind of crazy. I mean, he's looking like CJ Stroud is looking like he's, man, the number 1 overall pick, which is the Panthers, man. Let me give us just ridiculous. Listen, the Carolina Panthers, man, you failed miserably. It's a Carolina thing to do, man. You pay Matt Rule, then you bring in a loser in Frank Wright, and we've done nothing but lose. We just look terrible. Our offense looks terrible. Our offensive coordinator's still terrible. Everything looks bad, while CJ Stroud is thanking his lucky stars that he didn't get drafted to us. He's over there in Houston, Texas, changing the culture, man. They are winning. They're expecting to win. D'Amico Ryans, I believe the head coach name is. Man, I mean, they just playing great football. They look good. They look like a real NFL team, and CJ Stroud is looking like a real top 10 NFL quarterback, which I'm proud of him for being a Buckeye and showing his tail like he's doing, but I would have much rather him being in Carolina with my team. That's what I feel like he deserved the number 1 pick. I've always said that, and I continue to stand by that. Moving right along, from the Texans, we got Baker Mayfield looked impressive. Now, Baker Mayfield has been, on an up and down thing ever since the Odell fallout in Cleveland Browns. He's been bounced around a few times. He did land in Carolina where he didn't do too well. Now he's in the Bucs taking over for Tom Brady. He's got a better offensive line. He's got some better offensive weapons with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and all those guys on board. He just looks like he's more comfortable in the pocket. He's been doing well. So, I mean, I shout out Baker, man. Good job, Baker. Good job, man. Joe Burrow looked terrible yesterday. They lost big time. I mean, Cincinnati has been looking bad all season. I'm not sure if it's just best to go ahead and just bench Joe Burrow, not bench him for his play, but sit him down to where he can fully heal, because he doesn't look like the same guy. I don't know what it is. I know it's still early in the year. It's only, week 4. So it's not like it's a big time concern, but at the same time, it's looking bad. Like he has not looked himself at all this whole year. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Excuse me. And Pat Mahomes looked terrible yesterday. That was his worst. Matter of fact, I got a stat on Pat Mahomes. That was his worst loss or his worst game. He didn't even lose the game, but that was his worst game played ever. I mean, basically since college. I mean, I found a stat that Zach Wilson is the first opposing quarterback to outperform Pat Mahomes in college or the NFL. And by outperforming him, that means that he threw less interceptions and more completions. Nobody's ever done that to Pat Mahomes, not even in Texas Tech or since he's been a starter in the NFL. So that's a pretty weird stat. It's crazy stat because, Pat Mahomes is probably arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and he played terrible, and his team still got a 23-20 win. They scraped by. The Jets looked like they were doing better with Zach Wilson, so I'm proud of the guy. I'm hoping that he continues to keep playing well. Obviously, I don't want him to, because Joe Namath came out, Hall of Fame legend Joe Namath from the Jets. He came out saying he's tired. He's seen enough of Zach Wilson. They need to move in a different direction. So for him to come out and play well against the Chiefs in primetime Sunday Night Football, I think that's a big confidence booster. And I'm hoping that he continues to, excel and level himself up. Moving right along from them, the Cowboys hand Belichick his worst loss in his 29-year career. So they lost, 38-3. And that's pretty significant. I mean, Mac Jones doesn't look like he got it, man. He looked like, just another guy, JAG, just another guy, man. He's just a jag out there. He doesn't look like he got the confidence that he needs. He doesn't look like he has the weapons. But, I mean, hey, it's Bill Belichick. A lot of people want to blame Belichick for his lack of success without Tom Brady. And I personally I don't like that kind of narrative because Tom Brady was never doing it by himself. He's always had the significant weapons around him, whether it be Gronk or Randy Moss or whoever else it might be, Wes Welker and all those guys, that he's always had the significant weapons as well as the running game, as well as the defense. We ain't going to talk about the Ty Laws, the Richard Seymour, all of these different guys. We can just bring a bunch of names into the play that he had at his disposal that Belichick doesn't have right now. So I don't want to just make it seem like, Belichick can't coach and Tom Brady was right all along, because no, if he would have went from Tom Brady and got Pat Mahomes or got Joe Burrow, then the Patriots will still be winning just like they were. So having Mac Jones has been, saddened, to say the least. It's pretty sad, man. But I mean, hopefully they bounce back. Who knows? It is Bill Belichick. If nothing else, man, he'll start cheating and looking, recording practices and looking at people plays. I call him the cheateries for so long, man. It is what it is, man. I mean, I don't have no quarrels against him, though. Moving right along from the NFL, man, we got another Monday Night Football game tonight. Before we move along, the Seahawks play the Giants tonight, the New York Giants tonight in New York, I believe it is, or New Jersey. I know they play in East Rutherford or something. But yeah, it's gonna be a big game tonight. I personally got the Seahawks winning that game because I think the lack of not having Saquon Barkley is gonna hurt them. But Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. I do agree that he is a good quarterback, but I just feel like the Seattle Seahawks got a little bit more talent on their team with DK Metcalf and all of the gang that they have. So hopefully Geno can pull it out, man. Let's move along to the NBA. Oh my God, do we have it? NBA. Now listen, the trade has taken place finally, man. We've been talking about it for weeks. Dame Lillard and being traded away from Portland. I mean, Dame did try to rescind his trade request. This came out after the trade took place, however, but they said that Dame Lillard tried to rescind his trade request and stay in Portland and just kind of stick it out. But the general manager told him there's no turning back, man. It's already over. The relationship is tarnished. They're moving on. They got Scoot Henderson. They got a couple young guys. They ready to move on, rebuild, and get a fresh start on everything. They traded away basically everything that they had. And hey, I can't be mad at it. The trade took place last Wednesday, and involving the trade, the Bucks got Dame. The Blazers got, it was a 3-team trade, by the way, including the Phoenix Suns. So the Blazers got DeAndre Ayton, Drew Holiday, Camara, 29 first pick, 28 and 30 pick swaps from I guess that would be from the Suns. And also the Suns got Yusuf Nurkic, who was on the Trailblazers, as well as Nasir Little. I don't know this Keon Johnson. I don't know that guy. He must be a new player. And then Grayson Allen as well. So, I mean, it was a pretty decent trade. I mean, I believe everybody kind of got better or got off what they needed to get off. I do know that made the Milwaukee Bucks formidable. I mean, they instantly shot up to title favorites for next year. Right after that, though, so this happened on Wednesday. The fallback was about Thursday, Friday morning. But just yesterday, there was another trade that took place because Drew Holiday was on the Blazers. The Blazers made it clear that they weren't planning on keeping him, and Boston Celtics chimed in and they got Drew Holiday. Now, the details of that trade, I'm not sure. I think it was cash exceptions and picks and all that kind of stuff. But for the Boston Celtics to bring that defensive player back over, because they had Marcus Smart and they got rid of Marcus Smart. So now to have them back, and they got rid of Grant Williams as well. They had a Grant Williams who plays for Dallas now. But to have those guys transition out and then to bring in another wing defender who's arguably the best two-way defender, at that shooting guard position, that's pretty impressive, man. I mean, of course, the Bucks still got Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez and all of these different things, so they still gonna be very, very good. But the Boston Celtics will still be very, very good as well, man. They have definitely put some pieces in place. I know they got Porzingis over there in Boston, so they got some size, they got some shooting, they got some defense. Of course, they just re-signed Jaylen Brown to that big-time $300 million contract. Jason Tatum will be next up. So don't sleep on Boston, man. They definitely still have talent. It's going to be fun in the East. Miami Heat is the only team that really didn't get better. They lost Gabe Vincent. They lost players and didn't add anybody. And it was supposed to be, I guess they were waiting on Miami Heat. And the Miami Heat didn't. I mean, they were waiting on they were waiting on a Dame trade to Miami, and it just never took place. So now they kind of got the short end of the stick. I do know that NBA Media Day is going on now for a lot of teams. I mean, my Lakers Media Day just took place. I just watched LeBron, his press conference. Earlier, I seen Jimmy Butler. He's doing another wild and crazy hair day. Last year, he had the long dreads. This year, he's got the long fake dreads. This year, he got some kind of, I don't know, he says emo, or I don't know who that is, but he looked like a punk rocker with a straight hair bob. I don't know what's wrong with Jimmy Butler, man. He having a fallout about them trades, man. They didn't go his way. So the NBA season does kick off. The preseason starts this week, this Thursday, October 6th. So we'll be looking forward to keeping our eyes on basically just, when the NBA kicks off, because we're going into the fall, man. This is the fall time of year. So much football, so much basketball, everything is kind of going on. So I'm gonna definitely have to be better on my episode intake and putting out more episodes throughout the week, man. So I will, I'm gonna hold me accountable, come in, chime in, let me know when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do, because I'm gonna try to stay up on everything that's going on and not having to wait so long to bunch in a lot of this information, man. But yeah, we looking forward to, like I said, NBA Media Days today. The Lakers I've already said that they're 100% healthy. I think D'Angelo Russell's got the starting job over Gabe Vincent. I mean, I don't know how long he's gonna last. I don't know if he's trade bait. I don't know what's going on with that whole situation, but I do know I'm happy to just hear that everybody's happy and healthy, man. So that's a good way to start the season. Hopefully it stays like that. AD's been in the gym. We're going to keep our eyes focused on that, man. So look, let me finish up today's episode, man. I know it was a lot to unpack on this one, but the golden rule of today. Now, the golden rule of today is kind of controversial in my opinion, because the golden rule of today is move in silence. Everybody ain't proud of you. or everybody ain't proud for you. So I find that a little controversial because I mean, being a believer in the Most High, in God, I do know that the book tells you to tell about the goodness of Jesus, and to let everybody know, how good he's been to you, so to say. But then in the flip side of that is like telling people about your good news or telling people about things that you have going on. It can also backfire, man. It could be like people start treating you different. People start, excuse the little viewfinder, man. Hold on, movie recording has I don't know. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that, guys. But no, like I said, it could backfire on you though, man. Because at the same time, you could have people that don't like you for whatever reason, or they might start treating you different in the fact that you getting some sort of good news. People might start looking at you like, who is he? He ain't special. What is he? What has he done? I've recently had this happen at my job. Like I'm trying to advance and do better for myself and my family, and then I started getting treated a little different than I was prior to the good news. So I mean, a lot of times that whole move in silence thing is great advice. It's not good to tell everybody about what you got going on. I mean, sometimes it's gonna be some haters in the background that don't like what you got going on, no matter how they act to you. They might act friendly and nice, but at the same time, in the back of their mind, they might not feel too comfortable about who you are. Like, why is he so special? What's wrong with this? Like, why I couldn't get the opportunities this man getting, or whatever the case may be. So, and also, like Deion Sanders says, man, listen, my confidence or your confidence could offend others' insecurities. How confident you are, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself could offend other people in their insecurities. They might not feel good about being around you because your spirit might affect their demons. And that's just the reality of it, man. So the whole move in silence, everybody ain't proud of you. That's my golden rule of today, man. I just feel like it's a lot. Sometimes you want to tell about the goodness of Jesus and how good he's been to you, but at the same time, you have to be aware that within telling your business or within telling things that is going well for you, you can also receive blowback, and it could be like people not liking you for those very same reasons that you think are just good things that are happening. I mean, everything ain't always sweet. We all know that, but sometimes people act like because good things are happening to other people, that nothing good happens for them. So you just got to be careful, man. Like I said, that's the golden rule of today. Move in silence. Everybody ain't proud of you. And we're going to leave you with that, man. We look forward to more sports, more updates, and more rocking out, man. So we appreciate your attendance. Welcome back to the Golden Rule Podcast. Until next time, my name is Ryan Hayes. See you later.
When real life happens, now. We got a golden rule. Stay true, stay focused on what's important. You can cover the gold in you. Find your gold. Look, breaking news. Life is golden when you make the rules.